Hello students, I hope you all are doing great. Welcome back to the daily news analysis. I'm your educator Prithviraj Singh. So let us begin with the important news articles of 21st March 2022. Guys, on a very important news, Russia is today in the 23rd day of war in Ukraine, and it has fired hypersonic missile named Kinzhal Dagger, right? So hypersonic missile has been fired by Russia at one of the Ukrainian underground arms base, right? So it is not stopping the war, and it is further augmenting the war escalation, and it has fired a hypersonic missile. Guys, it is important because number one, they may ask you that what is the name of the hypersonic missile fired by Russia in its invasion into Ukraine. So it is Kinzhal Dagger, high precision hypersonic missile, right? So the name is Kinzhal. When I say hypersonic, we must understand that sonic word comes from the root word sound. Guys, the speed of sound in room temperature is 343 meter per second, right? And so this is the speed of the sound, right? Any vehicle or any aircraft or any missile which runs at the speed of sound is called as Texan-sonic speed of sound, right? If any vehicle or aircraft runs at a speed less than speed of sound, it is called as infra or subsonic missiles. Texan sonic missiles, then infra or subsonic missiles. Then in case if the speed of the vehicle or the missile is more than the speed of the sound, it would be called as hypersonic, right? And this is being referred by the abbreviation Mach, right? So 1 Mach means the speed of the sound. Subsonic means less than 1 Mach. Hypersonic is somewhere around 3 to 5 Mach. Then you have a category of missiles which is called a supersonic. Supersonic missiles have a speed greater than or equal to 7 Mach. For example, BrahMos. Right. So the missiles or the aircraft vehicles are being categorized based on the speed of the sound. If they are moving at the speed of the sound, they would be called as Texan-sonic. If they are moving at a speed at a speed less than the speed of the sound, that is less than 343 meter per second, it would be called as subsonic or infrasonic. If it is more than the speed of the sound, it would be called as hypersonic and supersonic. Hypersonic missiles are somewhere around 3 to 5 Mach speed. Supersonic are equal to or greater than 7 Mach. For example, BrahMos 2, right? So Russia has fired, a hypersonic Kinzhal Dagger missile to destroy an arms base in one of the villages in Ukraine. Now, it is very important to understand that this missile can carry conventional warheads as well as nuclear warheads, right? Because such high intensity, high speed missiles do have the capacity to carry nuclear arsenals also, right? In this sense, it would definitely pose a nuclear threat over Ukraine and can have a catastrophic results, right? So therefore, it is very important to understand this issue. So as I said that it has the capacity to deliver the nuclear weapons. It is air to ground missile, right? Why? Because it is being shot from the air and it explodes at the ground. It can carry both conventional as well as nuclear warheads, as I just said, right? So the best part is that they fly low, they are fast, and they are highly maneuverable vehicles, right? And hypersonic means a speed faster than 5 times that of sound, as we discussed. It is somewhere around 1220 kilometers per hour. I hope it is clear. Guys, we all know that Russia has also, captured Mariupol, a city near Zaporizhia, right? Very close to the Sea of Azov. So they may ask you about that, and we would be explaining in the coming classes. The next news article: Japan still hopes that India will join RCEP. Guys, after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, many prime ministers of various countries are visiting India, or are holding virtual conferences with the Indian Prime Minister. The Japan Prime Minister, Fumio Kishida has also visited New Delhi, in a meet with Prime Minister Modi, right? And it is very important in the backdrop of Russian war in Ukraine. So Fumio Kishida, a Japanese Prime Minister, has visited India, right? Now before this, the Indian Prime Minister also had a virtual conference with Australian Prime Minister, right? Then South Korean Prime Minister. So therefore it is very important that the countries across the world, important countries, are visiting India, at least physically or in the virtual conference, right? Because of the reason that we all know that India abstained from voting at United Nations Security Council resolution against Russia, right? So in UNSC resolution against Russia, India abstained from voting, right? And that is the reason why many countries are coming to India, are visiting India, Indian Prime Minister, to actually get a clarity about India's stand in times of crisis, right? So whereas this article talks about RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, formed, although the negotiations started in the year 2012, of which India was also one of the members, right? Guys, RCEP is basically a trade bloc which has 10 ASEAN countries plus the free trade countries with ASEAN like China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, right? So RCEP was formed as a body which included these many nations. However, India was also a founding member of RCEP, but it opted out in the year 2019 because of some security reasons, especially in order to protect its domestic producers, right? So this article would clarify us with regard to details about RCEP. There is one more country here in RCEP, which is New Zealand, right? So let us discuss the article. As I said, that RCEP stands for Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. It came into force in the year January 2019. However, the negotiations to this economic union started in the year 2012 at a summit, ASEAN summit, right? We all know that ASEAN is Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which is a 10-member trade bloc, right? And these countries which I just mentioned, China, Japan, South Korea, and Australia, and New Zealand do have the FTAs, individual FTAs with ASEAN, right? Which is a very successful and prosperous bloc, right? So these countries, these 5 nations plus ASEAN is called as RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, right? It came into force in the year January 1, 2022, right? So my bad, it is 2022. It came into force in this year only, January 1, 2022. And as far as India is concerned, India was a founding member of the the negotiations for RCEP, but it opted out from RCEP in the year 2019, right? I hope it is clear. Very important news article, and I expect a question on this. As I said that India was a founding member at the negotiations which began in the year 2018, and however it actually left out of this proposed agreement in the year 2019, and the negotiations kick-started in 21st ASEAN Summit of the year 2012, and these are the members as we just discussed, plus the 10 ASEAN nations, which are Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Now it would make the objective of RCEP is definitely to ensure free and hurdle free movement of goods and services. It would make it easier for the products and services of each of these countries to be available across this region. Guys, RCEP was formed, the negotiations started in the year 2012 as a response to America-led TPP. TPP is Trans-Pacific Partnership, which was also a trade bloc of the Pacific Rim countries, which actually excluded China, right? So because China was not the part of TPP, China, in order to counter TPP, started its own trade bloc called as RCEP. So the negotiations started in the year 2012. I'm not saying that it was formed in the year 2012. We must not get confused ourselves. So the negotiations to RCEP were started in the year 2012, and of which India was also one of the founding members, but they were concluded only when India moved out, and the RCEP as a trade bloc came into force on January 2022, right? However, TPP was also made defunct as America withdrew from TPP, and so it's no more functional, and because America has already withdrawn from TPP under the presidency of Donald Trump, right? So these are some details that why did India decide against signing the RCEP trade deal, guys? Because when there is a trade bloc being formed, it would ensure the free movement of goods and services, right? And India fears that its farmers may not stand in competition against the foreign products, right? So therefore it may adversely hit Indian agriculture plus the dairy products, right? Because Indian government want to strengthen the domestic producers, especially the farmers who are engaged in agriculture, farm activities, as well as in dairy activities, right? So if some cheap products, low price products are coming from some foreign countries, then definitely our domestic producers may not stand in competition against them, and it would their market would be completely destroyed. So therefore Indian government did had the valid concerns that there is no safeguard for the interest of agriculturalists and the dairy people engaged in dairy sector, and also there was no such mention of how India would get an advantage to its service sector, right? So on two stands, that is agriculture and dairy plus the service sector, India actually decided that it would not join RCEP, right? So we all know that Indian market is flooded with the low price Chinese goods, right? So therefore in order to protect its industries, and because they are unable to compete with low priced mass manufactured products coming from China, and therefore Indian government actually decided to come out from RCEP or not join RCEP. So also there are various economic threats by China, plus there were clashes at Galwan Valley. So all these things actually resulted into India deciding not joining RCEP, right? Guys, there is also, it's being said that there is also a possible circumvention of rules of origin, the criteria used to determine the national source of a product, right? For example, let's say any dairy product, let's say Amul manufacturing paneer, and so in that sense the origin country for this becomes India, right? So as per WTO, there are some privileges given to the products coming from the originating country, right? So possibly it was being seen that there may be possible circumvention of the rules of origin, the criteria which is being used to determine the national source of a product, right? And in the absence of this, the countries would start dumping their products by routing them through other countries which enjoy lower tariffs, right? So this is India's decision because India, when decided that it would not join RCEP, of which Australia and Japan are its members, right? Guys, we all know that India, Australia, Japan are also the members of Quad, a grouping in the Indo-Pacific, of which led by America, right? So therefore it may be detrimental for the interest of the Quad, because if India has not joined RCEP, it may sever its relation with Japan as well as Australia, which are its Quad members, right? Plus India, in order to promote its supply chain resilience initiative, definitely the Make in India program and many Chinese apps are also being banned, right? So Indian government is thinking in that direction, right? So I hope it is clear. Moving to the next news article related to art and culture. Guys, as you can see on the screen, a place in Tamil Nadu, Thanjavur district, there is a village called as Narasingapattai, right? So at Narasingapattai, a flute kind of instrument which uses air, for the sound, has received the GI tag or geographical indication tag. So as you can see, guys, this flute kind of instrument which looks like a snake, right? And it is also being named rightly as Nagaswaram, right? I repeat, it is being named as Nagaswaram, right? It looks as if it's a snake-like instrument. It's a sound instrument, and it is called as Nagaswaram. And this is being basically being used in Thanjavur district in Tamil Nadu, and it is the recent addition to get the GI tag or geographical indication tag. So let us understand the issue. So Nagaswaram is basically a wind instrument, and it is being used in the Carnatic music, right? Guys, GI tag is a kind of certificate. It's a kind of certification or a form of intellectual property, right? For those commodities or those products which are unique, unique in the sense that they can be found originally in that particular geographical area, right? For example, Bengali Rasgulla. Definitely you can have Rasgulla in Rajasthan also, in Gujarat also, but the weather, the climate, the ingredients that are being used, that are being found and that are being used in Bengal are unique, makes it unique and specific to Bengal, right? So therefore no other state or place can patent that commodity as its own origin, right? Because it has got the GI tag, right? So for example, Nilgiri tea, right? Darjeeling tea, right? Then you have many other products in Rajasthan also, right? As you can see, Kashmir Pashmina, Nagpur oranges, they all have got the GI tags. So orange of Nagpur has got GI tag. That means they are unique in the sense that the quality that you get in the oranges at Nagpur are unique, right? Similarly, Kangra paintings of Himachal Pradesh, Tirupati laddu, Darjeeling tea, right? Kashmiri pashmina, they all have got the GI tags, right? Similarly, Bikaneri bhujia also has GI tag, right? So it is a kind of certificate or a form of intellectual property which is given to some goods and products coming from a particular area that is unique to a particular geographical region, right? Guys, the law that regulates the GI tag in India is Geographical Indications of Goods Act 1999. I repeat, it is GI of Goods or Geographical Indication of Goods Act of 1999. So they may ask you the year also. 1999 is the act, and the authority that gives the GI tags in India is located in Chennai, right? It is called as, very important, Geographical Indication Registry, GI registry. So they may ask you that GI registry is located where? So it is Chennai, right? And guys, the act is administered by Controller General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks. Controller General of Patents, Design and Trademarks, who is the Registrar of Geographical Indications, right? In this sense, guys, the GI tags assures the quality and distinctiveness, right? Because these products which are being found in particular geographical area have special characteristics originating from the definitive geographical territory, right? It is also a part of WTO, right? It is also a part of WTO, guys, as you can see, and trade related aspects of intellectual property, right? So this is there. So I hope it is clear. So it is also part of WTO's TRIPS, or trade related aspects of intellectual property rights, right? So I hope we are clear with the GI tag, and the Nagaswaram as an instrument, it has got the GI tag. We are also understood the GI Act of 1999 and the GI registry located at Chennai. I hope it is clear. Guys, moving to the next news article. What is National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority's role in fixing drug prices? It's an article from the Hindu. So NPPA, National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority's role in fixing drug prices. Guys, it has been apparently seen that the prices of the drugs and the medical devices would increase by 10%, and this 10% increase is being proposed by NPPA, National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, right? So all the medical devices and the drugs which are listed under NLEM, or National List of Essential Medicines, would see an increase of 10%, right? So we'll understand what is it and what is its role in fixing the prices. Guys, many pharmaceutical companies are claiming that because the imports of the APIs or active pharmaceutical ingredients have become costlier, so therefore they are asking for the increase in the it is resulting in the increase in the input cost, and therefore they are asking about increase price of the drugs and the medical devices, right? Now NPPA is deliberating over this issue. It is definitely comes under the Ministry of Chemicals, and it is deliberating over the increase in the prices of the drugs and the medical devices. Guys, as I said that it is a independent regulatory commission, or IRC. In this sense, it works independent from the executive or from the government, right? Doesn't mean that the government do not have the control. The government do have the supervisory control, but in its internal functioning, it is completely autonomous. It would function as an autonomous body, right, without any interference by the government. So it is an independent regulatory commission, or IRC, formed in the year 1997, and it is attached to the Office of Department of Pharmaceuticals, or DOP, under Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizer. It regulates the prices of drugs and ensures the availability and accessibility of medicines at affordable prices, right? So this is its objective. I hope it is clear. So this is your it also implemented and enforced the provisions of the Drug Prices Control Order, or DPCO. DPCO is an order which regulates the prices of the drugs and the medical devices. So these are the functions of the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, right? It monitors the availability of the drugs. It also collects and maintains data with regard to the production, exports, imports, market share of individual companies. It also deals with the legal matters. It also renders the advice to the government. It is also concerned with the the relevant studies which are required in deciding the drugs and the medical devices, right? So these are some categorizations of the things, the technical terms which are used in drugs, like active pharmaceutical ingredient, API, also called as bulk drug, means whatever ingredients that are being used in manufacturing the drug, right? Like the salts, isomers, esters, analogs, right? In its drug preparation, right? On the other hand, formulation means a medicine processed out or containing one or more drugs with or without use of pharmaceutical aids, right? For example, Ayurvedic formulation, right? So if you are using any Ayurvedic product, you would see written this name, this word, you would see this word Ayurvedic formulation, right? It may have the pharmaceutical ingredient, or it also may not have, right? So it is plus the generic drugs are those drugs which have the same API, but because the patent of the the original drug has expired, so it is being used by the government, and the government sell it by the name of generic drug at a cheaper price. So the prices of the scheduled drugs are allowed and increase each year by drug regulator in line with the WPI, right? So because today we have the wholesale price index at 2 digits, right? So therefore the drug authority also regulates the prices of the drugs in line of WPI. Now the Act of 1995, DPCO, Drug Price Control Order, has been amended, has come again in the year 2013, and it has proposed that at least 15% of the price should be increased, and rest 85% are allowed an automatic increase of 10% every year, right? So this is about that article about NPP. I hope it is clear. Now moving to the editorial page from the Hindu newspaper. Now this, I believe, is a important news article, editorial. Now it talks about the mounting pressure. Guys, we know that Indian government has abstained from the voting at the United Nations Security Council resolution against Russian invasion of Ukraine, right? Now it has exposed the diplomatic limits and weakness of India, right? Because definitely the invasion is wrong, because of the reason that many civilians have died, and it has been 24th day the war is still continuing. Indian government has not voted against Russia as China, right? So China also didn't voted against Russia at the resolution. They both abstained from the voting, right? So this article talks about the mounting pressure. Recently there was also a judgment at ICJ against Russia, and in this judgment even the Indian judge at International Court of Justice at The Hague, Netherlands, that is Dalveer Singh Bhandari, he also voted against Russia, right? So therefore guys, there is a mounting pressure on the Indian government to actually decide its stance, and not be in a diplomatic dilemma, right? So this article talks about the many prime ministers that have visited India, at least physically or in the on the virtual conference, like the Japanese prime minister, then Australian prime minister, and very soon the Israeli prime minister is also to visit India along with the American delegation, right? So as I said that the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has visited India, and he has the delegate has talked about RCEP and India joining RCEP, which would be beneficial to the trade bloc as well as India. Plus, it also said that India must not condone or support Russia's action. Plus America, and has also said that India, if still do any trade with Russia, then it may impose these sanctions under CAATSA, right? So joining the sanctions regime, that means America and United Nations are saying that India must join the sanctions regime, right? It also must avoid contracting for more Russian oil. It also should not send civil or military supplies to Putin regime until the war ends. At the same time, India has expressed its concerns over nuclear safety, especially after the launch of the hypersonic missile. India has said that there is a threat of chemical and biological warfare, violating the Biological and Chemical Convention, whereas it concludes with a statement that New Delhi must retain its ability to judge and shift its position from being neutral and abstentionist to one more wholly seized of the issues, right? So this is about the details about the article. You must go through this article, an interesting one, right? So these are the details which I have mentioned, right? So guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the session. Wish you all the best. Do press the like button, share, comment, right? So wish you all the best. See you in the next class. Good day. Goodbye.